Hello, chess friends, and welcome to your Out of Chess channel, and welcome to another brilliant and spectacular gameplay by the most powerful chess engine in the world by Stockfish 17. Today we see the fish battling it out in an opening that you have requested now many times here on my YouTube chess channel. Today we see the fish playing against the ultra aggressive Traxler Counterattack with the white pieces. And the Traxler Counterattack has of course its tricks, has of course its dirty opening traps, but I think if you play the game correctly with the white pieces, then you shouldn't have such a big problem against this opening. The Traxler Counterattack was very popular in the romantic era of chess. Many great games we have seen where black is destroying, where we have seen immortal very king hunts all over the board. But here I think Stockfish will show us really great way how to beat, how to meet, how to dismantle the Traxler Counterattack with the white pieces. I think this game is very instructive because I would say dare to say Stockfish will show us here simply the best approach against this very unpleasant opening. So let's see now what happened with white. The fish opened with the move e4, e5 by Alexandria, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, the Italian game, and now we have the two knights defense here by black. Stockfish goes into the knight attack with the move knight to g5, and the best way here to meet this aggressive method by white is to play a central counterattack with the move d5, then after e takes d5, black will get an extra tempo, then c6, and okay, in this line, maybe white gained the pawn, but we have to also mention black has a better development. White is lacking development, especially the bishop on c1 is a little bit stuck. You would love to play d3. All of bishop to e2 and bishop to f1 are also lines that have been played, but now recently in top grandmaster level, the line bishop to d3 has been the most popular way to here to proceed from white's perspective. But okay, here after move knight to g5, Alexandria played the ultra aggressive counter, the Traxler counterattack with the move bishop to c5, which is simply not a good move. And again, you have several choices how to play. You can play, of course, a calm kingside castling, and you can also play the move knight to f7. But the more correct way here to proceed is actually to play the move bishop to f7 that Stockfish decided to play here. If knight to f7 happens, I'm not saying it's a mistake or something, but I would dare to say black has some better chances to maybe do something in this game after potential bishop to f2, which is really an aggressive way. Then after king to f2, knight to e4 is very unpleasant to handle. You have to play even some strange lines with king to e3. The Stockfish engine evaluates this position as equal, but if you want to play this position, be my guest. I would not love to play anymore any sides of this particular game. So after bishop to f2, the correct way maybe here would be to play king to f1, but then again queen to e7, then you pick up the rook, and then d5. Again, this method is coming. Black is breaking through. E takes d5, then knight to d4. Look at this. Suddenly, okay, black lost the rook, but suddenly black's pieces are dancing all over the board. Even if you try again this idea king to f2, then knight to g4 is going to happen again. White is getting destroyed. Actually, after knight to d4, the most correct way here to proceed from white's perspective is to play an tricky d6, then after queen to d6, knight to f7, and similar stuff, then queen to e7. As I said, very unpleasant game again, also for white and for black. So that's why after, instead of knight to f7, Stockfish played bishop to f7, and I love this approach because it's a calmer approach. It slows down the pace of black's attack, because now the king is endangered and the king has to lose an extra tempo. King to e7, and now Stockfish plays a calm bishop to c4, and I'm not seeing any compensation anymore for black for the lost pawn. Here Alexandria is trying to play queen to e8, trying of course to sneak in with the queen here, trying to attack the knight, and also then pick up maybe the pawn on g2. Stockfish continues with knight to c3. We have now knight to d4, and now d3. Stockfish keeps it calm. Stockfish develops now all of the pieces and is only one move far away from castling and securing the king, of course. And then with an extra pawn and with this endangered king position on e7, I'm not sure what's really black's compensation. But again, you have to know what's going on, what is simply the best continuation here for white. Alexandria, of course, continues now with d6. We have knight to d5, which becomes now in move 9 a theoretical novelty here by the fish in the Traxler counterattack. We have knight takes d5, bishop to d5. Alexandria goes now for this idea. Queen to g6 hits now the knight, and also also hits the pawn on g2. So you cannot play really knight to f3, of course, then queen to g2 is simply winning the game. So that's why after queen to g6, Stockfish plays a beautiful counterattack with the move c3. Alexandria goes with h6. Stockfish picks up now the knight and also bishop to d4. And so far, Stockfish has an extra piece, but again, you cannot move the knight to f3. That's the huge issue. If you move the knight to f3, then the queen is coming into the game. You can maybe try something like, I don't know, rook to f1. You have to protect, of course, your f2 square. And then bishop to g4 is simply winning the game on spot here for black, because after bishop to e3, we can pick up this one. Maybe white could try, I don't know, queen to c2, but then c6 and then bishop to e3 leads now into this continuation where black will simply simplify the game till the end and will move up the rook here to the f file, and in this whole tactical sequence, black is having, I think, completely a winning endgame. So this not working. So knight to f3 retreating is not an option. So that's why Stockfish played the correct f4, and you see now the huge difference between when we play knight to f3 without the move f4 or with the move f4. Now after e takes f4 that Alexandria played, Stockfish plays now knight to f3 finally. Now comes queen to g2, but suddenly you see after rook to f1, now there is no pawn on the f file and the rook is connected to the knight, which is now huge difference. Now of course bishop to g4 and bishop to h3 can come, but the queen and the rook are connected to the knight, and white is defending so far the position. Alexandria continues with an aggressive bishop to h3. Stockfish wants to again simplify the game by trading off the queens. Queen takes e2, rook, king takes e2, and now bishop takes f1. King to f1 leads now into this line where white is having now two minor pieces for the lost rook, which is a great compensation, but again a very, I would say, unpleasant position for both sides. Again, if you don't play the game correctly, white could have also some problems in the game. In human level, I would say white could even lose some of these positions, but my Stockfish engine at home evaluates this position as 1.5 in white's favor. Bishop to f6 by Alexandria. We have d4, very important move to finally get this bishop into the game, and also you see the bishop was a little bit stuck to the defense of the pawn on b2. Rook from h to d8, bishop takes f4, c6, bishop to b3. Alexandria goes now indirectly for the bishop. Stockfish plays king to e2. Bishop takes d4, and bishop takes d6 here by the fish. Important move, at least you're grabbing a pawn. And now after king takes d6, knight to d4, we have reached now a new position where again, nothing dramatically changing in position. Still white is continuing the game with two minor pieces against the rook, but now the kings are closer, the kings are centralized, and black could have, of course, also great activity with both of these rooks all over the board. Rook to f4, we have bishop to c2. What should you do? Even if you try, I don't know, rook from a to f8, then knight to f5 is a huge threat. Then you have to step back. We play rook to g1, and now I don't know, g5, king to e3, and suddenly the rook is stuck here on f4. So this is again, I would say much better position here for white. So instead of rook from a to f8, Alexandria tried after bishop to c2 to move rook to e8. Stockfish continues now with rook to g1. Great counterattack, again going for the g7 pawn, g5, and now king to e3. Great centralization in some lines. Knight to f5 is the goal, but it cannot be made immediately because of rook to f5 and e takes f5 is not possible, but that's the square that you want to, I think, get with your knight. We have king to c5, knight to f3 by the fish, rook to f8, and now rook to g3, keeping everything glued together, everything compact now in the center of the board. What should you do? h5 obviously is not possible, maybe to play h4 and then deflect maybe the rook from the defense of the knight, because rook to g5, of course, comes with the check. After rook to g3, that's why Alexandra tried king to d6. Stockfish improves now the position of the light square bishop, and now a6. Bishop to e2. Again, Stockfish keeps everything compact here. Rook to e8, and now bishop to d3. Alexandra is trying now to repeat moves, but now Stockfish plays the calm b4. And the issue is, again, moves like c5 are not working here, because if a rook to h3, again, Stockfish would simply go for this pawn, which is more important, and then after rook to f6, even e5 is possible. So That's the huge issue. So that's why Alexandria escaped from this potential forks with the pawn with the move e5 and escape to the square c7. a4 by the fish, b6, knight to d4. Great move with the threat of knight to e6 fork. Rook to e8, and now rook to h3. Rook to f6, and now bishop to bishop to a6 here. Stockfish finally grabbed another pawn, and Stockfish has now also opportunity maybe to create a pass pawn here on the a file. c5 by Alexandria, knight to b5, check. We have knight to c3, and now c takes b4, knight to d5, and a good centralization move here by Stockfish. Finally, Stockfish managed to somehow improve the position of the knight, because the knight was a little bit misplaced through the game. Now it's activated. The bishop is always good here in open battles. The rook is, of course, attacking this one. Finally, Stockfish has reached, I think, a great attacking formation. Rook from f to e6. We have bishop to d3, and Alexandria is trying now to push the pawn. Rook to g3. Stockfish has to now catch, of course, this pawn on the b file. If you push it, then of course still rook to g1 is working, and you cannot protect anymore this pawn afterwards. After rook to g3, rook to g8, Stockfish centralizes again the king. Good move, I would say. Also instructive performance here by Stockfish, how to play in endgames. You should, of course, play with your king very, very actively, because actually the king cannot really be endangered. The king is so far well protected by its minor pieces and also by the pawn. h5, we have bishop to c4, lining up now both of these rooks, and now knight to c3, rook to d8 to check, and believe me or not, in this particular position, Alexandria resigned. I would love maybe here this position to be continued. Unfortunately, for the beauty of the game, Alexandria decided to resign here. The evaluation here is almost +3 in white's favor, but that's the game. They didn't proceed here. I moved a little bit further, maybe bishop to d5. That's the move that my Stockfish engine is suggesting. And then after something like rook to g6, you play knight to e2, you go for this pawn. Then after b2, then still you can catch it. And even if in some lines g4 happens, then there is a beautiful square for the knight. This pawn will be taken. This pawn will be also probably taken. So I think it's still a fair resign, but we want to see, of course, the gameplay till checkmate or something. But I think it's a decent result here. A great game, I would say, here by Stockfish 17 against the Traxler Counterattack of the Italian game. So let's just for the purpose of theory, let's practice a little bit more this opening. So knight to g5, bishop takes f7. I would say is still the best way here. Then you just retreat, and then you play normal development. Of course, there are some threats here on the g file, but they can be easily solved. d3, knight to d5, great novelty here by the fish, simplification till the end. Now this move came, and then you have this beautiful c3 move, kicking away the knight, and then taking, and then f4. Very important move, I would say. Even the most important move, I would say, of this opening here performed by Stockfish 17. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed in this game that you have requested now many times. I have seen also a couple of games played by Stockfish with the black pieces in the Traxler Counterattack, and believe me or not, Stockfish is also losing those games. So Stockfish really doesn't like this opening. I would not suggest you to play it. Maybe in some blitz bullet games, try it out against lower rated opponents, but don't allow yourself to be that this should be maybe your main opening, the Traxler Counterattack. I think it's not a good opening, and Stockfish simply destroyed it, I think, in a great way. So, okay, if you want to see some other spectacular games played by Stockfish and also by some other AIs, check out our commented chess games played by computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.